Well, welcome to another video from the DKS group. As you know, last video I posted, I was talking about all the facets of the group, the sport, the business development, the BD, the transport, the coaching, and our little horse transport. And I finished that video by saying that we were out at the weekend, not just as the sport, but also as the coaching. And the weekend was phenomenal. It was absolutely mind-blowing. So hence why I'm doing another video, and this is mainly on both sides of the fence for the sport. So first and foremost, I posted the video, had a little phone call from our young Speedway superstar, Carl Bickley. I'll put his link underneath. World champion in the youth, world champion in the class he's in. And I genuinely believe, and so do a lot of other people, that he will step up into the adult and he will win a world championship and he will be world champion. I think that's virtually guaranteed. Phenomenal young man. I had a chat with him and his family, and he's doing so much. He's mentally strong, working on his training, and what he rung me to say was, Anne, thanks for the video, thanks for the mention. A lot of my sponsors have already said they're staying for 2021. So he said that's absolutely amazing. Still need a couple more. He said, but I'm looking to race next year in Europe, the under-21s in Europe, the under-21 British and the under-21 Worlds, as well as stepping up to the big adult class. So as a Speedway rider, he is going to be incredibly popular. Up and down the country, probably 2 races a week, and then maybe the one at the weekend because of obviously the leagues that he's in, and also racing for the under-21 and the adults end. But absolute phenomenal young man, like I say, mentally strong. Needs a couple more sponsors to make the switch over across to the World Rounds, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. I also mentioned that Bobby Thompson, the British touring car driver, phenomenal young man. We've watched him, we've been with him all the way from karting all the way up the Volkswagen Cup. He won successfully many times on the podium, and now in the British touring cars. Now, why is that so popular? Hey, it's a big budget, but it's also normally on ITV4, watched by hundreds of thousands of people. So amazing. The skill the drivers have, and obviously I've been lucky to get up and close and personal. Back in the day, I worked in the touring cars. I worked for a company called 888 Race Engineering, and they ran the Vauxhall touring car team. Now, obviously, things have moved on. We now manage. And it's amazing to watch. And Bobby's the same. He's got mostly the sponsors on board for next year. There's 1 or 2 he's missing. But you heard me talk about Sammy Bowler, our little feisty redhead from up in the north, driving the minis. Well, she had an amazing weekend. 3rd in qualification and 2nd in the race. An absolutely big field of minis. So there's the John Cooper Works minis, the standard minis and the classic minis. And she got 2nd, absolutely annihilated them, absolutely phenomenal. I wouldn't say there's a straight panel on the car, because Sammy's got a habit of touching and rubbings racing, as they say, but I'm absolutely over the moon to see that she got on the 2nd step of the podium, 2nd place in her little mini. So again, she's got a lot of sponsors that are staying with her, and obviously a woman in motorsport is pretty much a rare thing. Now, we've obviously got the story coming out a few weeks back that Claire Williams was stepping down from Williams F1, and she has inspired a lot of women in motorsport. So obviously our little Sammy, not only does she race in the minis, but she's also been picked for one of these women in motorsport, women in leadership, and she's quite proud to wear that and to take that mantle going forward. We then talked about cycling, our super vet. Well, I know he's off doing extreme long distance cross countries on the mountain bike. Phenomenal. I mean, if you know me, don't do a lot of cycling, don't do a lot down the gym. So anyway, moving on from that, we had our Equine. Obviously, we've agreed and we've done the deal to carry on the sponsorship of the Equine venue in Essex over at Codden Park. So you will see the DKS logo if you go on there, Codden Park Equestrian. Looking after the cross country, the show jumping and the dressage. So we're over there quite a lot, but we've obviously got some equines we get involved with. And then I spoke to you in the last video that we were going to work with the mind. We were going out Saturday morning and we were going to go out and work with a shooter, a shooting team, clay target shooting. You know I have a passion for it. Most of our directors Mick and Barry also clay shoot. Now I belong to a little group and we are all training together under the Top Gun, and I had his shirt on the other day. And we went over to a venue, and not just myself and the coaches and the others, but there were some mindset people, there were some psychologists there, and we all worked together and we understood what we were doing. And I can tell you it makes a massive difference. And sports athletes get mindset, they get coaching, they get creating a plan, taking you from where you are to where you want to be. I had an amazing competition for me at the Cambridge Championships. Couldn't win anything because I'm based Essex, my licence is Essex, but I went up. But the guys that were in the Top Gun team, second in class, third in a class, and I think another first in class, and maybe I think we're just waiting for the confirmation because it was a 2-day competition, that those guys combined have helped, you know, Cambridgeshire win that particular division. So that's been quite impressive. But I also want to touch base on somebody I managed to have time with on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening in fact. A young man that I've watched in British Superbikes, a young man from up here in Norfolk, 21-year-old Ryan Vickers. A lovely young man, genuine, absolutely very, very switched on. Watched him in the Super Stocks, the Super Sport 600s that backed up the British touring cars, and absolutely phenomenal, romped away, won everything. I started to do some research on him, looked back at his motocross days. Now, you know, we've got a passion as DKS for motocross. Found his name, he'd won quite a lot then. And obviously now he's fully supported by Kawasaki, racing in the BSB, the RAF Reserves, if you see that, and it's the Ryan Vickers #7. Phenomenal young man. Obviously he's got his private sponsors, he's got the team sponsors and across, but he is absolutely phenomenal. And I sat round with a group of others, we were having a social distancing barbecue, and Ryan was there with some of his sponsors and his friends. A pleasure to be invited, to be honest. But absolutely amazing the way the young man talks about where he sees his future, how he has dietitians, he has fitness trainers, he has coaches, he has masseuses, and we introduced him to a new masseuse, but that's beside the point. His mindset was there, where he wants to be. Every year's a stepping stone, every bike's a stepping stone to where he wants to be in MotoGP. And he was saying much the same. The sponsors have stayed on board with him because there's 100,000 people watch it. The bikes, the Kawasaki, he's getting advertised in all the dealerships, not just across the UK, but also across Europe as well. So that takes us to the other side of the fence. DKS Sport. Now, we were able to chat, and obviously I know Mick and Barry spoke in the office, and then they spoke to me, that there are businesses coming on board that want to support athletes, that want to sponsor teams, that get involved in events, that get involved in venues. Now, I'm not going to give too much away because it's what we do for a living. But at the end of the day, you have to have a look at your marketing and your advertising budget as a business, and you have to say, right, I've got this, and I would normally spend it here. Would it be better with an athlete, a model, a presenter, a team, a venue, or a championship? Now, there's lots of ways you can look at it. Ryan and Bobby Thompson, Sammy Bowler, Carl Bickley, Scott Nicholls, they up and down the country every weekend, and obviously myself with the shooting, up and down the country every weekend. The mileage we're putting in, the big trucks are being seen, the cars are being seen, the shirts, the graphics, all being seen in front of a new demographic, a new client base, a new customer base. But then there's also the social media, what these athletes do for you as a brand ambassador, as technically another salesman for your business. So I want you to bear that in mind, that obviously by working with us, we're not just motorsport, shooting, equine, football, rugby, cricket. We've got lots of sports we get involved in, and obviously we've hosted and we've run some ourselves. And we can advise you where to put them. Now, we've just helped a little business, and I'm going to tell you this. Under 9s football. And you're going to go, under 9s? They wear them shirts, so it was less than £1,000 to put a new shirt strip logo across the front. But the kids are wearing them shirts most days. Parents wash them, they're wearing them at weekends, virtually guaranteed to get in the local community paper. So this local business came to us and said, and we want to do something in the community. Under 9s football. The boys team and the girls team, they supply the shirts and they paid for them. As I say, less than £1,000, but they've now got 9 months worth of advertising. and they're going to make the little local paper because that's the local kids team, and the parents are there and the kids are wearing the up and down the village and everything else. And it's lovely then that you can go into the bar afterwards and network and socialise, and it's putting something back into the community. So that's what we class as a heart on the sleeve kind of sponsorship. But we can virtually help you with everything from there all the way up to the German touring cars and even to F1. Doesn't matter what your budget is, doesn't matter what but we work with you to make sure you get that return on investment, make sure you get back more than you invest. And like I said, we've got some world champions, we've got British champions, we've got some European champions. Even with our shooters, we've got Cambridge champion, we've got Essex champion, and hopefully this weekend we're at an Essex invitation, an international back in Essex, so I get to hopefully represent Essex and have a shoot there. But you've got to picture yourself, what would I like for my business? Do I need an athlete? Do I need a team? Do I need a venue or a championship? Now, you've seen on some of the blogs and you've seen on some of the videos, and certainly if you go on the DKS Group website, there's a little blog on there that explains why you'd get involved in a venue, because a venue does a lot more, why you'd get involved in a championship. So just bear that in mind. But we have had an absolutely phenomenal weekend. I learned something, did quite well at the shooting, was quite high up in my class but won't get placed because it was a Cambridge Championship. Got to meet a phenomenal young man, Ryan Vickers, as I say. Hashtag number 7 for the British Superbikes. Carl Bickley I talk about quite a lot. We do a lot of work with young Carl. Bobby Thompson's there. We talk about Jake Nicholls, the motocrosser that's sponsored by Honda in the British motocross. Our super vet in the cycling, and obviously we've got various other sports. We've got the rugby, we've got some football, we've got some cricket when it restarts properly, and we're involved in quite a lot. But please bear that in mind, and as I say, we've had a phenomenal weekend and it's been really good. As you see, I haven't done much with the lawn, and the big machine still sits there, so I've actually got to change shirts tonight, and while the weather's nice I'm going to carry on doing some work. But we've just had an amazing weekend, so hopefully you'll join us on the website, have a look, read some of the blogs, and if you'd like us to help you with your marketing and your advertising into the sporting world, please let us know. Take care.